So today we're going to have a workshop on operations on rational expressions. Objective number one, I can determine the sum, difference, product, and quotient of rational expressions with integral exponents of degree 1 and of degree 2. Example number one. Which of the following expressions is equivalent to this one? Please understand that if you are only dealing with one variable, then you can use Desmos. So let's go ahead and plug this in on Desmos. After plugging it in on Desmos, this is the graph that we came up with. The answer is the one that will go on top of this one. So let's go ahead and plug in all the answer choices. All right, so as you can see, when I plugged in choice A, it went on top. So therefore, the answer here is letter A. Okay, so let's go ahead and do this by hand. When you're subtracting rational expressions, make sure that you get the least common denominator. So notice that if I do the common monomial factor for this denominator right here, it becomes that. And I'm just copying this down. Okay, so let's take a look at these denominators. Notice that this denominator right here is also a factor of this one. So therefore, the LCD for these two fractions is this one. That's your LCD. Okay, let's go do this step by step. So now copy your LCD. And then step 2, divide the LCD to the denominator. So this, which is equivalent to this divided by this is 1, times your next step is to multiply it to the numerator times 4 will give you 4. And then copy down the sign and do the same process for the other one. So this divided by this one will give you a 2 times 1 is 2. So simplify, copy this down, and 2 divided by 2 will now cancel out. So now you're left with 1 over x minus 5, which is your answer in letter A. Example number 2. Which fraction equals the product of these expressions? So let's go ahead and plug this in on Desmos because you're dealing with only one variable, so you know you can graph it on Desmos. So this is the graph of this expression, and you will find the answer by plugging in each of the answer choices, and the one that overlaps this graph is the answer. So this is the graph for letter A, and as you can see, it did not overlap on the given expression. So therefore, this is not the answer. Go ahead and plug in letter B. So this is letter B, but then this is becoming busy. So turn off the choice A so that you can see how the graph of letter B relates to the original expression. So this is not overlapping, so the answer here is not B. Let's plug in C. Again, turning off choice B. Choice C also does not overlap. By the process of elimination, it is letter D. But let's plug it in too. There you go. So the answer here is letter D. Now let's do this manually by using FOIL method or simply distribution. First term times 3x is 3x squared. And then x times negative 2 gives you negative 2x. After distributing the x to both these terms, you're going to now go ahead and distribute the next term, which is positive 2 to 3x, which is positive 6x. And then positive 2 times negative 2 is negative 4. Do the same process here at the bottom. So 5x times x is 5x squared. 5x times negative 2 is negative 10x. Then now positive 2 times x is positive 2x. And then positive 2 times negative 2 is negative 4. Next step is combine like terms. Copy down 3x squared. Negative 2x plus 6x is positive 4x. Copy down minus 4. Now let's do the bottom. So that's going to be 5x squared. Negative 10 plus 2x is negative 8x. Copy down negative 4. And that is your final answer, which is letter D. Number 3, simplify these two fractions. Let's go ahead and plug it in on Desmos. Okay, so this is the graph we came up with. Again, you're going to go ahead and plug in all the answer choices, and whatever overlaps this given expression will be the answer. All right, so letter A is the answer. Let us now go ahead and try doing this by hand. Simplify the expression. The steps are get the LCD, divide the LCD with the denominator, then multiply to the numerator. Let us begin. All right, so the denominator of this one is 2 plus x, and this is x. The way to get the LCD for this is to multiply this 2. So therefore, I had just placed them into this expression. So let us now do the steps. After getting the LCD, I'm going to go ahead and divide the LCD with this. The moment I divide this with this denominator, then this will be left. And then that will be the one multiplied to 3. So x times 3 is 3x, and then copy down the sign. And then you're going to go ahead and divide this by x. So now this time x will disappear and this will be multiplied to the negative 1 times 2 plus x. And then we are going to simplify. So I just copied the denominator and I copied the 3x here, and then I'm going to start operating the negative 1 and distributing it here, making it become negative 1 minus x. And then we're going to combine like terms. All right, so quick correction. That's negative 1 times 2 is negative 2. Negative 1 times x is negative x. And then 3x minus x is 2x. Copy down the minus 2 all over x times 2 plus x. And this right here was the answer we got a while ago, which is letter A. Number 4, simplify this rational expression divided by this rational expression, plug it in on Desmos. So I'm just going to show you how this will come up. So even if I press the divide button, that is not going to show. The Desmos will show it to you like this. All right, so this is the graph we came up with, and all we need to do now is to plug in each of the answer choices and see which one overlaps. So this one is letter A, and A is not the answer, plug in B. As you can see, it's not B, let's plug in C. And there you go, we found the answer. The answer is C, it's the one that overlapped with our original graph. Now let us try doing all these by hand. So what we're going to do is we're going to factor out all of the expressions that we can factor out. Let's begin with this one. So I'm now going to go ahead and start generating the factors of this one by trial and error. That's a 25, so I would assume this is a 5 and this is a 5, and that when added has to be that, which is positive 10. Therefore, it is this. This one will just be copied. It's prime. It cannot be factored out anymore. However, these two right here can still be factored out. All right, so for this one, I'm going to do the common monomial factor, which is 3 here and 3 here. Therefore, what will be left here is x, and then here is positive 5. This is special product, difference of perfect squares. So therefore, I'm going to have an x and an x, and 1 plus 1 minus 2 right here. So those are already the factored form. And then now we're going to cancel out or simplify whatever we can simplify. Before we can cancel out, I hope that you can still remember that whenever you are dividing the fraction, you will have to flip it. Copy down the first fraction, change the divide to times, and then flip this too. And so now this is how it looks like, and we are going to begin our cancellation or simplification. So this is now going to be crossed out, so they will turn to 1, and this will also turn to 1, and then we're just going to write them down. Now this is the final answer, so we just copied this down, this one also is copied down, and then the 3 is left on the denominator. And so the answer is C. Let us now go to number 5, but then we will have to change all the letter A's into X. Let's plug it in on Desmos. Now plug in all the answer choices and see which one overlaps the original expression. A is not the answer. Now plug in B. And you can see that when we plugged in B, it overlapped with the original expression. So therefore, the answer here is B. Okay, now let's solve this by hand. Let's get the LCD. So this is how we're going to get the LCD. We're going to take a look at all the factors. You have a 4, a 3, an A, and two A's here. Therefore, this A will now be covered by this two A's right here. Therefore, your LCD is 12, which is 4 times 3 and A squared. We are not including this anymore because technically that is already included in those factors. So now let's begin the process of dividing this by this and then multiplying it by the numerator. So this divided by this, I placed it here just for us to clearly see it, is a 3. And 3 times this is going to just be 2 minus a, like that. And then copy the minus sign, do the same process here. 12a squared divided by 3a is going to give us a 4a. And now 4a times this will just be 4a times 1 minus a in all in parentheses, and then we're going to distribute. Copy down the denominator and distribute the 3 with those, having that, and then this times 1 is 4a. Negative 4a times negative a is positive 4a squared. And then now we're going to combine like terms. And then now we are just going to arrange this to where the power of 2 comes first, then power of 1, and then the constant, which is the same as letter B. Okay, so we're now on objective number 2. I can determine the quotient of a polynomial of degree 3 and of degree 4 when divided by a polynomial of degree 1 and of degree 2. So Joe divided these two polynomials. We can plug this in on Desmos because as you can see, there's only one variable, which is the x. Just make sure that this whole expression right here is going to stay in your numerator and this one in your denominator. Now plug in all the answer choices and see which one overlaps with the given expression. And so A is not the answer. Let's plug in B. So we found the answer. The answer is letter B because it is the one that overlaps with the original expression. And now let's do this by hand. So 2x squared divided by 2x is x. X times 2x is 2x squared. X times positive 3 is plus 3x. And then you're going to subtract. This will be gone. This now is going to be negative 20x. Bring this down. And now do the same process again. So negative 20x divided by 2x is negative 10. Negative 10 times 2x is negative 20x. Negative 10 times 3 is negative 30. Subtract. This will now be gone. And this will now turn to negative 8. And that's your remainder. And the way to write this is you're going to go back here. And that will be negative 8 all over your divisor, which is 2x plus 3. And that is the answer, which is letter B. So our next example has two variables, and so therefore we will have to do this by hand. Okay, so understand that you're given a restriction where your x and y cannot be a zero. So all I did here was I copied all the terms and then had placed this underneath, and we're going to divide this one by one. Right, so this divided by this is 4. X squared divided by x is x, and then y stays there. Copy the plus. 6 divided by 3 is a 2 on top. And then this 2xy will now be gone. So that's just 2 over 1. This is minus. That's going to be 3 on top. There, this will all be gone because this will cancel out. That will cancel out. And xy will be there. And again, over 1. All right, so that is it. I just arranged it to where this constant is at the end, but that is your final answer. So last and final objective, I can rewrite rational expressions in equivalent forms. Number 1, which is equivalent to this. Plug in on Desmos and see which one matches. All right, so the answer is letter A. All right, so let's do this by hand. What you're going to do is you're going to get the factors of the numerator and the denominator. All right, so I'm doing this by trial and error. This is a negative 10 and that's a positive 3. So I would assume this is a plus 5 and a minus 2. When multiplied, it becomes a negative 10, but when added is a positive 3. Here at the bottom, it's going to be plus 5 and plus 3 when added is a positive 8. So cross this out and your answer is this. So I hope you learned a lot today and good luck on your power focus assessment. And the answer is A. Good luck, guys.